The photo of this banner originated with a Gothamist reporter who I also reached out to asking if they could confirm that this was a hoax by the alt-right, to which I still did not get a response. How's it going, everybody? Another Twitter personality apparently was a Russian troll. You may have heard that a while ago Tennessee GOP turned out to be a Russian troll, and now there's an account called Jenna Abrams that maybe you're familiar with, over 70,000 Twitter followers. It turns out to be a Russian troll, apparently. I'm not sure how much I trust this story, but we'll look into it. Now, today's video, we're going to talk about fake news. We're going to start with this Jenna Abrams stuff, because you know I love criticizing the media for publishing fake news, for being bad at their jobs, and then telling everyone else that they're the bastions of truth and that we have to protect the sanctity of journalism, etc., 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 when they're often no better than the average person at reporting basic facts. Now, let me just say, yes, investigative reporting is really important, so this story about Jenna Abrams might be really, really important. But it's very difficult for me when the source of this story is the Daily Beast. But I digress. Before we get into that, let's look at what this story actually is. A Twitter user named @Jen_Abrams was tweeting things that were considered to be very divisive and were considered to be critical of immigration and other things that are associated with the right, with conservatives. This account generated a ton of viral posts, had over 70,000 followers, and the reason this is important is that if it's true, it was being run by the Russian trolls or the Russian disinfo campaign, then it really was an account that was divisive and was making racial tensions worse in this country or exacerbating the conflict between the left and the right. But more important than just what was happening on Twitter was how news media was using this account as a representative of certain political ideologies. Many news outlets, many on the left, some on the right, used this account, quoted their tweets for stories. For example, we had USA Today, some Fox affiliates, BET, Yahoo Sports, Sky News, the Independent Journalism Review, Breitbart, The Washington Post, Mashable, New York Daily News, Quartz, Dallas News, France 24, Huffington Post, The Daily Caller, The Telegraph, CNN, BBC, Gizmodo, The Independent, Daily Dot, Observer, Business Insider, The National Post, Refinery 29, The Times of India, BuzzFeed, the Daily Mail, the New York Times, and of course, Russia Today and Sputnik. And of course, Infowars, we're not gonna leave them out, they're in there too. So you can see that there's some right-wing outlets, many mainstream news outlets, and some left-wing outlets were using this account as a representative of certain ideals. Mostly what we're seeing is the left accuse the right of being Russian bots. We see this all the time. We see people who may have worked at Sputnik accused of being actual agents of the Kremlin when they're probably just low-wage writers in a DC office. We see the Russia sphere, people like Louis Mensch accusing people of being Russian agents, a lot of people of being Russian agents. And here we have yet another case of a Twitter account which is being accused of being a Russian troll, a Russian operative. This time it might be true. Now, outside of this story, you might be wondering, why would I question the Daily Beast? Well, let's start light. Let's go back in time to May, when the Washington Post published a fake news story, yes, I'm gonna flat out say it was fake news, saying that Kim.com may have hacked the Gmail account of Seth Rich to prove his conspiracy theory. Now, the story is still up in some manner, but it's been edited quite a bit since then because I actually spoke with the author about why the story was wrong and what about it was fake. Now, in the story, they claim that due to Kim.com's company, former company, Mega, sending an email to the Rich family, it was proof that a New Zealand-based hacker was attempting to access the Gmail account. And then they went on to say that this is very likely Kim.com, or it may be Kim.com trying to prove his conspiracy by planting a trove of fake emails, which literally makes no sense, by the way, because if emails were planted, they'd have the wrong timestamp. Like, you can't send emails. I don't know how he planned to inject Gmail with false dates on emails. None of it makes sense. Yet, many reporters still tweeted this out definitively, and one of these reporters was Lachlan Markay of the Daily Beast. And he tweeted, Kim.com tried to hack Seth Rich's Gmail account. When that didn't work, Tuesday's bombshell suddenly disappeared. And I contacted him about this at the time, to which I did not receive a response. Now, in following up on the story, I contacted him earlier today, to which he immediately responded with an apology that he missed the tweet, deleted the tweet, and issued a correction. So with that, I say much respect to Lachlan for owning this and correcting it, because that's something a lot of people do not do. Which is why I move on now to the Daily Beast again, because the reporter Kelly Weil wrote a story called Alt-right frames protesters as pedophiles with fake NAMBLA sign. In this story, she definitively says more than once that the alt-right framed the protesters at Mike Cernovich's event as pedophiles with the NAMBLA sign. And I reached out, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 times. And I even reached out to the Daily Beast PR in both instances of Lachlan Markay and of Kelly Weil and did not get a response. There is no evidence that the alt-right framed the activists with this poster, at least nothing I can find. Yes, the banner about Antifa and NAMBLA was likely a hoax. But we do know, and even from their reporting, that some of the activists, some of the Antifa black bloc people, carried the banner saying they didn't know what it was at first. The banner was apparently destroyed very, very quickly, but the point is, we don't know who, if anyone, perpetrated the hoax, let alone to accuse the alt-right, which is a very specific group. But sure enough, I don't get a response from the Daily Beast or from Kelly, nor do they issue a correction or an update, nor do they preface the story with presumably, or we speculate, or we have a reason to believe. And on top of this, the photo of this banner originated with a Gothamist reporter who I also reached out to asking if they could confirm that this was a hoax by the alt-right, to which I still did not get a response. When looking at the story, I feel like, maybe this doesn't matter so much. Look, this is one protest in New York, and they were a bit wrong in their accusations. They can't confirm the story. They're reporting rumor as fact. And it's not that big a deal, right? Well, I don't know. I feel like if you let these stories slide, it's just going to continue to get worse. Because someone's going to see the story and definitively say it's true. They're going to accuse like Mike Cernovich of doing this and say, oh, those Nazis were planting fake signs. They're trying to discredit us. There were tweets from people saying that, see, the right has no real argument against Antifa. And it's a game of telephone. It's going to lead to another story and another story, and I guarantee you in a year from now, they're going to cite this story as fact. They're going to say, and it's also known that the alt-right has framed protesters in the past, and they're going to use this as an example. So it's important to call it out no matter what you think. And it's also important to call out that even though Lachlan Markay apologized, deleted the tweet, and it was just a tweet, right? He didn't write a story up like the Washington Post did. But even though he did, let's look at the original tweet. 472 retweets, 648 likes, 115 replies, and his correction, as of the time of this recording, 8 retweets, 24 likes, and 2 replies. Now, it does get even worse, and this is to Lachlan's credit, because I asked him, were you aware that the piece you tweeted out was edited several times since this correction? And he said that he was not aware of this. And you know what that means? That means that news organizations, yes, they do this, they edit their articles and they don't put a notation on the article that it was changed. So in this instance, the original story from the Washington Post actually did reference Kim.com potentially hacking Seth Rich's Gmail account. Now, Lachlan's original tweet still was an oversell, right? There's no evidence to suggest that Kim did this, and the piece never explicitly said he did. But now the piece has been edited to remove all insinuations that Kim.com had anything to do with the hack at all. In which case, Lachlan looks like he really oversold the story. So think about what that means for the future. Let's say the New York Times writes a story saying person A committed act X, and you tweet that out saying person A is detestable, is deplorable, I'm appalled by this action. And then in a day or two later, they remove person A from that story. Now you look like a weirdo. You look like someone who's posting fake news yourself when you originally were using an actual news source. Can you tell that I'm really, really mad about all this? I have been reaching out to the Daily Beast several times saying, can you confirm this story? Do you have evidence the alt-right framed these activists? And they just don't respond, and they leave up fake news. Yet we're sitting here and we're supposed to believe that journalism, these news organizations, are better than us at reporting what happened. Which brings me all the way back to Jenna Abrams, the presumably fake Twitter account run by Russian operatives. So many news outlets did not vet this person and used them in their stories, as the Daily Beast even says. Assuming we want to use them as a source on this, I think we'll just go for it because this is the big story. But you can see all of these news organizations were so easily able to just take these tweets from this fake account and use them in their stories. So what happens? Well, this person, Jenna Abrams, was a caricature of right-wing ideology being run by Russian trolls, if we are to believe the story. And the people on the left who read the Daily Beast, people on the left who read all of these other outlets like Huffington Post, are going to look at that and think, this is what the right believes. And then they're going to create this false idea that everyone on the right is X and everyone on the left is Y, because you can see that even the Daily Caller, Breitbart, InfoWars used this person as well. So the right doesn't get a pass either. If the Daily Caller and Breitbart and InfoWars want to quote a Twitter account, they better vet who this person is. More to the point, any media organization, if you're going to start quoting tweets and YouTube videos and people, you better be sure you know who these people actually are. Now, I'm not surprised I have yet to receive a response from the Daily Beast, because back in May, I requested a response and didn't get one either, and I doubt they'll ever respond anyway. And this is just the way it is, because no one ever wants to hold their own accountable. I've worked for companies that do this, I've watched activists do this, I've watched police do this. Any group that has a nefarious actor, just own it. But no one's gonna do that because it costs them power. And that's the real goal of everyone involved in all of these situations, is to empower themselves and not even care about what's actually better for the rest of the world. These people who are activists on the left who claim that capitalism is destroying the planet are sitting right there among the pile of crap doing the exact same thing. So until all of that changes, I don't know what to think, and I don't know where we're headed, but this is just another me waking up angry at the news, I guess. So thank you all for listening to me. We'll keep the conversation going in the comments. Comment below and let me know what you think. If you want to follow me, I'm on Twitter @TimCast. Stay tuned for breaking news and live streams from around the world. If you want to support my work, go to timcast.com/donate. Give whatever you'd like, give nothing at all. My videos are always free and available every day at 4 p.m. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all tomorrow.